Hi everyone, on either Saturday evening or Sunday the 1st of November, Change Your Clocks Day. Um, Without having regular services, it's not as concerning as it would be whether people are going to be on time or not for the services. I'm Charles E. Clough from the Church of Truth Center for Awakening Consciousness, where we want to always be open for the things that God might have us think about that maybe will make a difference in the kind of persons we are and the contribution that we make to the world that we live in. Well, we're a couple of days away from when we will vote for who we want as the president for the next 4 years. Voting is when we pin ourselves down and we have the choices before we vote. And we choose about the persons we want to vote for or the measures we want to have that are kind of controlling and dominating what happens to us. There are so many choices. In fact, life is full of choices. We're one choice after another, you might say. Some of the choices are important, some aren't important. Major ones are like choosing your mate, what your profession is going to be, where you're going to go to college, where you're going to live. These are major decisions, major choices. Actually, the choice is different from the decision. The choice is everything related to consideration before you make a decision. Before we vote, we look at all the measures, we think about all the persons that are wanting to be our officers, who are going to run our states and our government, the total government. Seems like our vote doesn't make a lot of difference, but it makes a lot of difference to us. The reason it's so important, I think, is because we have to pin ourselves down when we vote. We don't pin ourselves down if we have a bunch of choices. When you look at a list of people that are running for an office and you see all the choices, we might think they're all good people. They all are going to try to do their best. But amongst all those that we have to choose from, we have to pick one. So we have to pin ourselves down. This is hard for indecisive folks. Some of the measures are very difficult, and you go back and forth on them, and you listen to people talk about them. The great thing about the material that's sent before the election is it really gives a concise picture of both views, of the views of both sides. They present their view, then there's a reaction to it. The reaction people present their view, and there's a reaction from the first persons. You really get a good picture of probably what's involved in the way that we are going to decide. But when we vote, we pin ourselves down. We don't pin ourselves down when we consider the choices. We don't pin ourselves down when we mark the temporary ballot that we have that comes in the mail. We really don't pin ourselves down when we hold it when we walk toward the mailbox. But we do pin ourselves down when we put it in the mailbox or when we actually vote at the voting center. Because that's the point of no return. That's when we've done it. Some of these things that we do that when we do it, we've done it, don't always turn out well. We look at some of our politicians and other people who speak when they think the mic is off, and the things that they say when they think no one is listening, it comes out. And what do you do with that? You have to live with it. Things we say we wish we hadn't have said, we have to live with. Things we do we wish we hadn't have done, we have to live with. That's when we say, whoops, uh-oh, and then we have to think about what we're going to do because we said what we said and somebody else heard it. So we apologize, or we just have to eat it and live with it and wish we hadn't have done it. And we see some politicians extremely embarrassed for things like this that have happened. But when we take our ballot down, we vote, and we're stuck with the vote. We have to live with what we decided. Actually, the choices we make throughout life, we live with. We are an accumulation of all the choices we made. Actually, how we are right now is the result of the choices we've made. If we look at our lives and don't especially like what we see or the situation we're in, it's good for us to realize that we're right where we are right now because of what we've done, what we've decided. Now that can be gloomy to think about, except for realizing that everything we've done that's good or bad has been good for our growth. We learn more from what we do wrong than we do from probably what we do right. At least we can't forget the things we did wrong as easily as we take for granted the things we do right. These 4 years of President Trump's presidency have caused a lot of people to think about the votes they made before. Some are very pleased with the vote they made. My brother, my sister, and other people that probably don't feel that good about Trump as the person, like what he stands for. In fact, one of my friends said, when I go to the polls this year, I'm going to vote for Trump while I'm holding my nose, because the things that he stands for are things that I have to vote for. And of course, that's the abortion thing. It's wanting to get people on the Supreme Court that have the same positions, the more conservative type part. But we are held to the things that we decide and that we keep promoting and doing. The huge thing, and I brought this to our attention last week, is that love overrides all of the differences that show up when we vote. How this vote turns out is going to be so important. This is a gigantic decision by a lot of people. Some decisions are small. They don't make much difference. Some are big for ourselves that we make. But when we vote for a president for 4 years, that's pretty huge. So I think that all over the place, there are people that are praying, that are asking God to lead and guide. The interesting thing is that people on both sides, or people that always have different views, all go to the same God all and believe they're in touch with what God wants. Somehow we tend to think that what we think and what we feel, because we are praying for God's will, must be the right way to feel. It would be interesting is if we say, God, I feel that this is what you really want, and I'm praying for that. But it may not be the right thing. So I want to give in my positions to that which is the best for the most people, and that which is going to achieve and accomplish your will. So when we go and when we vote, we want to do it with a feeling that we are wanting love and goodness to come to the most people because of the things we are doing. There was a time when I made a decision about something that affected a lot of people. And how it turned out was different than I thought it should. I thought that the church that I was a pastor of was supposed to become a part of a group of 4 other pastors who were my friends, where we were deciding to build a joint facility so we could all be on one piece of property and sharing the buildings that we could share, so that we wouldn't duplicate social halls, kitchens, recreation rooms, even the main place of worship. We didn't need to duplicate that. We could work our schedules and our time out so we could share all those things. And we felt it was the right thing to do. So it came down to where everybody was voting in all the different churches. And one congregation did not feel that they wanted to do it. So it didn't go through. And it seemed like a terribly wrong thing for me. But after it was over, in fact, just a very short time afterwards, I wound up feeling that God was moving me from the ministry into a counseling ministry. I was going to get my doctorate, move ahead, and open up a whole different direction of my life. 2 of the other pastors, it opened up a different direction of their lives. If we would have voted this through, and we would have all left the churches where we were pastors, it wouldn't have worked. The new ministers wouldn't have had the feeling about it, the same feeling we did. So even though we thought the vote was the right way God wanted, it really wasn't. The 4 years some of us feel were not good for our country might have been the very thing that's caused our country to face itself, to confront itself, and to deal with some of the things we just kind of bypassed and let go. There are going to be changes. People say the world's never going to be the same. The world, because of this virus. And our country's not going to be the same. How good is that? There are things that need to change. When we have crises in our lives, it leads to things that need to change. They need to change. And so often we would not change unless there was some major thing that forced it. And we thank God afterwards for that forcing. The presence of God that's over everything, attuned to the personal presence of God within each one of us. They're connected, they're coordinated, they're working together for that which is outside of us and that which is inside of us, finding that which is best for mankind and best for the world. And don't we all want that? We'll all be sitting on watching how the election comes out. But however it comes out, my friends, it's going to be the best thing for all of us in the long run, which sometimes only God sees. But we surrender that to God, knowing we're just a small little one piece of the puzzle. One small little tiny piece of the puzzle. And then there's those bigger areas of the puzzle, and then the bigger areas and the bigger areas, until we see God all as the one who's got it all together. Only God all has it all together, and we give it to him to work it out. And We're thankful to God for that, and so it is.
As you walk the path of life, an idea comes to you that is very inspiring and new. The thought takes form inside, and you find that you can't hide from what you truly want to do. Dreams will give you a purpose, they'll give you a reason to go on. Take your dreams and give life to them, and live your dreams before life is gone. It feels so good to know that a dream can change and grow as you accomplish what has value. When a possibility becomes your reality, you've achieved what matters most to you. Dreams will give you a purpose, they'll give you a reason to go on. Take your dreams and give life to them, and live your dreams before life is gone. It just takes a spark from your mind and heart to create what you long for. Let your heart's desire flow, and don't let that vision go until you have seen it through. Oh, those dreams will give you a purpose, they'll give you a reason